For millennia, empires have risen and fallen. But how did the very first one, the Akkadian Empire, crumble? Born from conquest, it unified Mesopotamia. Yet, even with its might, this ancient superpower vanished. Let's discover the cataclysmic events that brought history's inaugural empire to its knees. Chapter 1. The birth of the first empire. The Akkadian Empire marks the dawn of imperial history as the first known empire to unite diverse peoples under one ruler. Emerging around 2334 BCE in Mesopotamia, it transformed fragmented city-states into a centralized political entity. This unification set a precedent for future empires, establishing new standards in governance, military organization, and cultural integration. The empire's foundation reflected advancements in administration and diplomacy, enabling control over vast territories. Its creation signaled a shift from localized rule to expansive, multi-ethnic governance, shaping the political landscape of the ancient Near East and influencing civilizations for centuries to come. Sargon of Akkad, often called Sargon the Great, rose from humble origins to become the architect of the world's first empire. Born to a priestess and abandoned as an infant, he was raised by a gardener before ascending to power. His military genius and political acumen allowed him to conquer and unify Mesopotamian city-states. Sargon established a centralized bureaucracy and a standing army, pioneering imperial governance. His reign expanded beyond Mesopotamia into Syria, Anatolia, and Elam, securing trade routes and cultural exchanges. Sargon's legacy includes not only territorial conquest but also innovations in administration and diplomacy that endured long after his death. Chapter 2. The political landscape before Akkad. Prior to the Akkadian Empire, Mesopotamia was a patchwork of independent Sumerian city-states such as Ur, Uruk, and Lagash. Each city-state operated as a sovereign entity with its own ruler, laws, and patron deities. Frequent conflicts and shifting alliances characterized this fragmented political environment. These city-states competed for resources and influence, often engaging in warfare that hindered regional stability. Even with their rivalry, they shared cultural and linguistic ties, including cuneiform writing and religious practices. This decentralized system set the stage for a powerful leader to emerge and impose unity, transforming the political landscape from division to empire. Sargon achieved unification through a combination of military conquest and strategic governance. He defeated rival kings, including Lugalza-Gizi, consolidating control over key city-states. Beyond battlefield victories, Sargon implemented a centralized administration by appointing loyal officials to govern provinces, ensuring direct imperial oversight. He standardized weights, measures, and legal codes to facilitate trade and justice. Sargon also used religious authority, installing his daughter as high priestess to legitimize his rule. This blend of military strength and political innovation allowed him to maintain control over diverse populations and vast territories, creating a cohesive empire from previously independent city-states. Chapter 3. Geographical extent and influence of the Akkadian Empire. The Akkadian Empire stretched approximately 250,000 square miles, encompassing most of Mesopotamia and extending into parts of Syria, Anatolia, and Elam. Its capital, Akkad, became a political and economic hub strategically located near the Euphrates River. The empire controlled vital trade routes linking the Mediterranean, Persian Gulf, and interior Asia, facilitating the exchange of goods like silver, lapis lazuli, and cedar wood. Akkadian influence spread culturally and linguistically, with the Akkadian language becoming the diplomatic lingua franca of the region. This extensive reach not only secured wealth and resources, but also established the empire as a dominant force shaping the ancient Near East's geopolitical and cultural dynamics. The Akkadian Empire developed a centralized bureaucracy to maintain control over its extensive territories. The empire was divided into provinces governed by appointed Akkadian officials called ensi, who oversaw tax collection, law enforcement, and local administration. Military garrisons were stationed in key cities to deter rebellion, creating a dual civil-military governance system. Religious institutions remained influential, with rulers often installing family members as high priests or priestesses to legitimize authority. Standardized weights, measures, and record-keeping on clay tablets ensured efficient management of resources and labor. This sophisticated administrative framework allowed the Akkadian rulers to govern a culturally diverse and geographically vast empire effectively. Chapter 4. Military campaigns and expansion strategies. The Akkadian Empire's expansion relied heavily on military innovation and strategic campaigns. Sargon and his successors led well-organized armies that used both infantry and early naval forces to conquer neighboring regions. Their campaigns targeted key city-states and resource-rich areas, securing control over trade routes and fertile lands. The empire maintained permanent garrisons in conquered cities to enforce authority and prevent uprisings. Military leaders were often appointed as provincial governors, combining martial and administrative roles. This approach ensured loyalty and swift response to threats. Naval expeditions to distant regions like Dilmun expanded the empire's influence beyond Mesopotamia, marking some of the earliest recorded maritime military operations. Chapter 05. Cultural and linguistic integration. The Akkadian Empire promoted cultural integration by blending Akkadian and Sumerian traditions. While Akkadian, a Semitic language, became the empire's official language and diplomatic medium, Sumerian religious practices and literature were preserved and respected. Rulers supported temples and appointed family members as religious leaders to maintain continuity and local support. This dual cultural policy helped unify diverse populations by honoring established customs while introducing a common administrative language. The fusion of Akkadian and Sumerian elements influenced art, literature, and governance, creating a hybrid culture that shaped Mesopotamian identity for centuries after the empire's fall. The empire's economy was built on agriculture, trade, and resource management. Fertile lands along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers supported large-scale farming, producing surplus crops to sustain urban populations and armies. The Akkadians controlled important trade routes connecting Mesopotamia with regions such as Anatolia, the Levant, and the Persian Gulf. Commodities like metals, timber, and precious stones flowed through their territories, boosting wealth and political power. A standardized system of weights and measures facilitated commerce, while state-controlled storage of goods ensured stability during shortages. Taxation and labor obligations were meticulously recorded, enabling the government to fund public works, military campaigns, and religious institutions. Chapter 6. Environmental Challenges. Environmental factors played a critical role in the empire's decline. Archaeological and geological evidence suggests that prolonged droughts severely affected agricultural productivity. Reduced rainfall and shifting river patterns led to crop failures, food shortages, and economic strain. These hardships weakened the empire's ability to support its population and maintain control over distant provinces. Famine likely exacerbated social unrest and rebellion, undermining political stability. The Akkadian rulers struggled to respond effectively to these environmental crises, which, combined with external invasions and internal conflicts, contributed significantly to the empire's eventual collapse. The Akkadian Empire faced growing internal unrest as local rulers and provinces resisted centralized control. Succession disputes and power struggles among ruling elites weakened the imperial authority. Rebellions erupted frequently, straining military and administrative resources. Over time, loyalty to the central government declined, and bureaucratic efficiency deteriorated. This political fragmentation undermined the empire's ability to govern its vast territories effectively. The weakening of internal cohesion created opportunities for rival factions to challenge the throne, accelerating the empire's decline. These internal conflicts eroded the foundation of imperial unity, making it increasingly difficult to maintain order and control across diverse populations. Chapter 07. External pressures. The Akkadian Empire faced relentless external threats, most notably from the Gutians, nomadic tribes from the Zagros Mountains. Taking advantage of internal weakness, the Gutians launched invasions that disrupted trade routes and destabilized key regions. Other neighboring groups, including the Elamites and Amorites, also challenged Akkadian dominance by reclaiming territories or raiding borderlands. These external pressures stretched the empire's military thin and diverted attention from internal governance. The inability to repel these invasions further diminished the empire's influence and control. Over time, these hostile incursions contributed significantly to the empire's fragmentation and eventual disintegration. Chapter 8. How the empire disintegrated around 2100 BCE. By the end of the 22nd century BCE, the Akkadian Empire had entered a period of rapid decline. Environmental stressors like drought and famine weakened agricultural production, undermining economic stability. Political instability and internal rebellions further eroded central authority. The Gutian invasions delivered a decisive blow, sacking cities and disrupting administration. Attempts by later rulers to restore order were short-lived and ineffective. The empire fragmented into smaller city-states, marking the end of centralized Akkadian rule. This collapse ushered in a regional dark age, with a loss of imperial governance until the rise of the Third Dynasty of decades later. The Akkadian Empire's innovations in governance, military organization, and culture deeply influenced subsequent Mesopotamian civilizations. It established the model of a centralized imperial state that controlled diverse peoples and vast territories. The Akkadian language became the diplomatic lingua franca for centuries, shaping communication across the Near East. Administrative practices like provincial governance and standardized record-keeping were adopted by later empires. Artistic and literary achievements from this period inspired future cultural developments. The Akkadian Empire's rise and fall provided valuable lessons on the challenges of managing large empires, influencing political thought and imperial strategies in the ancient world for generations. The fall of the Akkadian Empire reminds us, even the mightiest can crumble. Its story echoes through history, warning of the fragile nature of power. What lessons does this ancient collapse hold for us today? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more history uncovered.